Good morning, everybody. We're going to be installing the 10-inch filter today. This is the CTO filter. It has about a 3,000 gallon capacity, designed to remove sediment, chlorine, taste, odors. This is your basic filter. But this head right here will also serve as the same head that the 14-inch filter will go in, which is the titanium 3000, which is more robust, which gets out PFAS, lead, emerging contaminants, bacteria, and so forth. And our installer is going to be showing you how it's installed very easily under the sink, full flow to the kitchen sink on the cold side. So stay tuned.
Hello everyone, I'm Mike Marquez. I'm the Corporate Service Manager with Elite Water Systems. Today we're going to be installing the 10-inch CTO filtration unit. It's going to go full flow to the kitchen sink in here. But before we get to that, I wanted to show you guys exactly what you will need and what comes in the box when we actually install the equipment. So first off, when you get the actual equipment, the CTO filter is going to come in with the filter itself. It's going to come in with 3 screws to mount it to the actual wall of the cabinet. And it's going to also come in with these 3/8 brass elbows. These 3/8 brass elbows are going to be used so that we can connect our braided line and connect to the kitchen faucet that's already installed for full flow. Now, for the parts that you need additionally to actually do the installation is you're going to need Teflon, pliers, a drill, and then the braided line. Now the braided line, when you do the braided line or you purchase the braided line, it does not come standard in the box because there's so many different sizes out there, and the way that plumbers nowadays are installing the equipment, it's not always a standard size. So this is something that you will have to purchase depending on what kind of plumbing fixtures that are being installed in the kitchen sink, as well as the length is always different depending on where you're putting the location of the actual filtration unit in the cabinet. With all that said, let's go ahead and get started. The good thing is this only takes maybe about 10-15 minutes to install, and we'll get started. Okay everyone, first off, let's go ahead and actually get our equipment started. First thing we want to do is we want to grab our CTO filter and our 3/8 elbows, brass elbows, and we're going to want to Teflon them first before we actually put them into the housing. When you're using Teflon, it definitely depends on what type of Teflon you're using. I'm using Blue Monster, so it's a little bit thicker. You don't have to wrap the Teflon around as many times to get that exact same seal that you get on like the traditional white Teflon. However, depending on what material you're using, just make sure you put Teflon on there and you tighten the fitting down so you don't have any kind of drips or leaks. So we're gonna put these on first. Now, if you notice, you saw me kind of backtrack that up a little bit. When you put these elbows on, if you get them too close to the housing, they'll hit here, and you'll have a little bit of a challenging time getting those braided lines on. So just make sure you put enough Teflon on so that you can tighten it down to that point and you won't have any problems with any drips, but you're not too close to this housing. There we go. Now, when you order the elbows, the ones that I've ordered, they have the compression on the compression side of it, because you have 3/8 MIP by 3/8 compression. So on the compression, they're gonna come with these fittings. You don't need them, obviously, because we're using full flow, we're using the braided line, so we're good there. On the filter itself, if you look, I don't know if you can see that, but you have your inlet and you have your outlet. So this will always tell you which side is your inlet, which side is your outlet on the actual CTO filter itself. Now when we do the installation, and you'll see this when we go into the cabinet here in just a minute, we're gonna take the kitchen faucet line off on the cold side and put it on our outlet, but we're gonna take our supply and put it on our inlet. Make it a little bit easier so we're under the cabinet. I'm gonna do that now so we don't have to worry about it when we're in there. All right, let's go in the cabinet and install. Okay guys, next step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect to our cold water feed. That's this angle stop valve here. We're gonna turn it off. We're gonna take this line off. Now one of the things I always like to do is I always like to connect my filter to this feed first, and then this will tell me exactly where I can position my filter itself and mounting it in the wall. So let's do that now. With these braided lines, you don't have to go too tight. They have washers in them, so you just want to go snug. There we go. Now let's go on the other side. Okay, now that we got the filter mounted, what I'm going to do, or I'm sorry, now that we got the filter hooked up to the braided line to the cold feed, I'm going to take this filter off momentarily, because now what I want to do is I want to mount the filter. Now, remember, when you're mounting the filter, the video that we're making right now is a 10-inch CTO. If you're going to be using the titanium 3000 and you're using that 14-inch filter, just make sure you actually mount the filter, or the mount high enough so you can fit the 14-inch as well. So always keep that in mind. Now that we got that screwed in for you, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the cold water feed and we're gonna connect it. we can go ahead and put our filter back in. There we go. All right. Once you have the system completely installed, what I always like to do is turn on the water, pressure it up, and let the water run out of the kitchen faucet for a minute. So now what we're gonna do is turn on the water to the CTO filter, get everything pressured up and ready to go. Now once you turn everything on, what you're gonna notice is when we actually go up to the kitchen faucet, when you turn it on, you will get a little bit of air, of course. We wanna let the water run just for 15, 20 seconds. Just make sure we get any excess air. Now, if for some reason you're getting a lot of cloudiness in the water, you can go ahead and turn off the angle stop valve while this is open to bleed any air out. And I'm gonna show you how we do that. So we leave this on, we'll come back down here, we're gonna turn it back off, and then when you look up top, what that does is it helps let any air that's trapped in the filter and the lines get out. And then we turn it back on, get a lot of that air out. Now it's always best once you do the installation, you get all the air out, everything's finished there. What I always like to do, turn it off, just wait a few minutes, just check underneath the cabinet, make sure everything's good to go. You don't have any drips or anything, nothing needs to be tightened up or any Teflon added.
Now the unit's been installed, your kitchen faucet can now serve as a pot filler. You can make baby's bottles, teas, juices, coffees. You can refill your refillable bottles. But the most important thing is this is an easy to install piece of equipment that has a lot of value, has a lot of certifications to give you worry-free water. So in 10, 15 minutes, you can install a single cartridge that has multiple filtration medias inside of it to give you worry-free water without PFAS, without emerging contaminants, without bacteria, without the smell bads, taste bads, and all the chlorine and stuff that's in the water that makes it unappealing. So guys, I'm Eric Bernal, Elite Water Systems. This is how you install a 10-inch and a 14-inch filter.